Obviously, you're gonna have to use whatever chart you're trading with, but that is the next logical resistance, and it's essentially the bottom of this AB pattern right here before the C wave broke down. Okay, so that is my next logical target for Litecoin. I think that's a very nice trade, very high probability trade, and it's a 90% move thereabouts from where we're at, but I think it's a really nice high probability trade. And then once you put that in, right, you go wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, you hit your head on this 6-year resistance. That's what I'm seeing for Litecoin. The symmetry works out really nicely. If you look at nature, you look at charts long enough, you can see there's a natural symmetry to good analysis. So I really like this trading plan for Litecoin. Hello everyone, my name is Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is February 13th, 2024. And it's all about altcoins. It's all about altcoins. It's all about altcoins. Obviously, we're going to talk about Bitcoin because we have to. Bitcoin is the king altcoin, and you always want to be tracking it. You always want a rough idea as to what it's likely to do, but it's all about altcoins. I cannot stress this enough. Altcoins are what's really going to, if you're an investor, if you're a trader, altcoins are what does it, right? The outsized return of altcoin investments is what makes legends in this cryptocurrency game. And so we're going to talk about a slew of altcoins, and we're going to look at targets because altcoins are pumping right now. Okay, and now Bitcoin is doing what we thought it would. Last we spoke, we were discussing how this move up proved that this right here was our initial break of structure, our A wave. Okay, so in layman's terms, I'm saying that Bitcoin is in a large correction of this kind, a flat correction, right? So let me zoom out a little bit so you can see. So basically, I'm saying, based off of this chart, based off of what we're looking at here, is that Bitcoin has gone up for like 80 some odd days, and this was the Pico top right here. This was what we call in Elliott wave theory the orthodox top, right? The top at the ETF, all right, around 48, 49 ish. And so the B wave, which we're in right now, is the counter, or not the counter, but the retest of the high. Okay, that can go up all the way to the phi ratio of the A wave. What does that mean? That means if you take your Fibonacci retracement tool and you measure this purported A wave from the top to the bottom, you can see that this B wave on this chart, okay, on this chart shows a target of, not a target, but a top, a maximum high of 54,892. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin's going all the way to 54,892. All that is to say is that the B wave, if this theory, right, because this is just a trading plan, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just using the data that I have in front of me and making an educated guess. And based off of this, the maximum that Bitcoin can do on this chart is around 54.8, right? So 55K. And if on this chart, based off of this measurement of this A wave, 55K breaks, then this cannot be a B wave by definition, because B waves cannot break the phi ratio. That would mean that this was a whole another wave in and of itself, meaning that this uptrend was still true. The idea that this is an initial break of structure means that this uptrend has begun correcting here on the day of the ETF. So that's the theory, that's the trade plan. This is why I'm not interested in Bitcoin. I'm not interested in things that are correcting. And nor should you be if you're a trader. What you should be doing with Bitcoin, if you're trading, not financial advice, but based on the charts, what you should be doing is what you should have been doing here, right? Recognizing that you've been in a solid uptrend for almost 12 calendar months, and that it's showing toppish signs. It's showing signs of getting overheated. And so what you should be doing is starting to offload your positions if you're a trader. If you're not, if you're, just like a hodler, obviously not. Based off of everybody's trading thesis, this would be wise to do, because again, you're basically going up in a correction. So even if you make higher highs here and you do go up into the mid 50s, you're pretty much preparing yourself for an eventual retreat all the way down to this level. And we've on this channel earmarked or circled, underlined the importance of this 30K level many times. So one way to do it is this. You take your Fibonacci retracement tool all the way from the purported bottom of this impulse to the top. And what do you see? That you see that the phi ratio, right, the 0.618 of this uptrend is here at 32,200, okay? And obviously these levels are never perfectly exact to the penny. Well, not always. Sometimes they are. But the price can come down all the way and kind of wick past this phi ratio. And that would be really nice insofar as you're retesting previous resistance that has yet to be retested as support. So again, I will keep saying this, and I understand that people are like, well, you've been saying this for some time and it hasn't happened. But understand that the time frames, the time frames that these charts operate on, especially when you're looking at a weekly chart or a daily chart, it takes time. And this uptrend has taken about 119 days. That can't be right. Let's go on the daily, get a little more precise. This uptrend, actually, I would measure it from here. So let's say, I think last I measured it was like 80 some odd days. Okay, 91 days. So this ABC flat correction, if we're correct on this trading thesis, would also take around 90-ish days, okay? Which would be bottoming out in April. And what do you usually see? People forget this, right? April is also mid to early April is also the projected Bitcoin halving. And Bitcoin, if you look at the data on Bitcoin halving and how it correlates with price, typically we come down into a Bitcoin halving. We retrace into a Bitcoin halving. So this would be very, very on brand with what Bitcoin has done in the past, where you're putting in this B wave and then you come down and correct into the Bitcoin halving in time for a mega uptrend, once the halving commences. So, right? Because the halving fundamentally pumps the price, right? Because it has the supply and demand. Less supply means the active or the extant supply has to double in value eventually, right? So that's what I'm seeing on the charts. This hasn't changed, and I understand that it's like, well, you haven't said it, and well, you've said it, but it hasn't happened. But again, high time frame analysis takes some time, but you want to be patient and you want to be prudent, and investing in something that is this overheated, that has broken structure like this, right? What do I mean by breaking structure? Let's zoom in, guys. If you're getting value, please like, share, and subscribe. Consider buying me a coffee. Pin link in the comments below. So by breaking structure, I mean this. So this is just trading 101. When you're investing in an uptrend, you want to be careful when you break trend. So you make higher highs, higher highs, higher highs. You broke the trend, making a lower high here. So that's why we call this an A wave or initial break of structure. You always want to be careful, because usually what you get after that initial break of structure, obviously you can get a leading diagonal. It gets complicated. It's not 100% of the time you break structure that you're going down. But usually what you see once you break structure is the beginning of the correction. It initiates the correction. You get an initial break of structure. You get a counter correction, which is what we call the B wave. And then you get your declension or your C wave, finalizing, completing, culminating the flat correction. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. Nothing's changed in that analysis since the last time we've spoken. But what's interesting is, as Bitcoin is in this correction, hovers, this B wave goes up to wherever it's going to go, 50-ish, 52, 53, 54, 55, altcoins will continue to be pumping. And I say continue because they've already started. This is the Bitcoin dominance chart on the hourly time frame. And as you can see, in the past 24, 30 hours, Bitcoin or altcoins have been outpacing Bitcoin, right? So here you have a top and a swing failure pattern. So Bitcoin dominance came up and it came right back down, made a lower high. So this is breaking structure of this uptrend finally, right? Big uptrend, you're finally breaking structure. You come back, you should continue on the way down. And that is what we're interested in. This is really what people should be focused in on. Obviously, I like to look at Bitcoin as a wealth preserver. If you're not yet wealthy, the way to become so is by strategically investing in altcoins. Obviously, you can make wealth with Bitcoin as well. But a well-placed altcoin bet is worth its weight in gold. So for the rest of this show, we're going to talk about some altcoins that I think are really interesting right now, that are really about to run, if not already running. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to start with, okay, let's do Balancer. Okay, so Balancer, let's stay on the daily time frame too, because these targets are relatively high. And again, what we're looking at here is the Binance chart. It's as much data as I could find with this asset. Usually Binance has the most data, either Binance or KuCoin. And as you can see, this is a 1, 2, 3 wave move. That's a flat correction, right? And you come into this mega long-standing consolidation. I call this a bear market consolidation, and you're essentially at the bottom of your bear market consolidation. You can see this is a channel right here. So your first target would be the top of this channel, okay? But what you want to be careful with some of these altcoin trades. You don't want to overtrade. I think this is something very important to say at the beginning of alt season, because the way these move, if you've never experienced an alt season before, you see a little bit of a 20% pump and you're like, ooh. Then you see that 20% pump turns into 50% pump. That 50% pump turns into 100% pump. You go to sleep, you wake up, that 100% pump is now a 300% pump. And then it just keeps going until then it corrects 60% or something like that. Do you see what I mean? So two things can happen here. One, you can find your way at the top of this and correct and then continue. Or because you're already at the midline of this channel and you already corrected from the midline, you may, on this move, break the channel, hit the next logical target, which is around $23.50, right? That's a massive move. And then correct all the way back down to retest the resistance of this channel as support. Okay, so if you want to set it and forget it, I would say this is the most common sense logical target. And all that is how did I get that $23.50 target? I essentially took the phi ratio of the bear market declension. So like the bear market drop, right? All the way from $74.60 at the high of this asset, right? All the way down to $3.62. That's a 95% drop. Basically, the phi ratio, or 0.618, golden mean, is at $23.50 thereabouts. So this is what you would target in a logical move to the upside, because the phi ratio is typically resistance when you're below it and support when you're above it. Not always, but usually in these cases, especially when you see an impulse like that. Okay, so that's balancer. I really like this as a target, and that from here is a 5x. That's a 500% move. Okay, so that's balancer. And we're not talking about fundamentals. I'm just doing chart analysis. But if the asset, if the asset is on this main watch list, then I've looked through and I've vetted for myself the fundamentals of these projects. Okay, Cartesi started moving today. Okay, Cartesi started moving today. I think at some point it was up like 18%, and now it's just correcting. So you should see this move happen in the coming hours as it's completing its correction, its initial correction. But this to me is pretty straightforward. You can see you came down. Whoops. You came down again in an impulsive manner in the bear market, right? And once again, right, just like Ralph Nelson Elliott told us, most of these corrections are what we call flat correction, ABC flat correction in 3 waves. Initial break of structure, that B wave, that counter correction, and then your C wave, your impulse. And then you spent a few hundred days sideways in this bear market accumulation. Now you're at the top of this bear market accumulation looking to break it, and the next logical target once again is going to be the phi ratio. So if you take your Fibonacci retracement tool from the top to the bottom here, right, you get the phi ratio, which is about at $7 and what? $7 and, or sorry, did I say 72 cents. 72 cents. So that's my first, logical target for Cartesi, at which point I would expect us to, retrace significantly. Okay. And so what I'm looking at here is from where we're at, that's almost a little more than 100%. That's 126%, right? That's a logical target for Cartesi. I'm seeing right to the phi ratio of the bear market drop. Okay, so that is Cartesi. Moving on, let's do Dogecoin. Mind you, not all altcoins are good for longing right now, because there's some that are in retracement and they're limited to the upside. Okay, so just, look at the chart, be careful. Not every single altcoin that you see is going to be moving when everything starts to move. Okay. Again, we're dealing with an A, B, C right here. A large retracement, right? I remember when this happened, when this started, it was like, I think it was like Elon Musk went on Saturday Night Live and it started retracing. People sold people bought the news and sold the event. I forget how you say that. Anyway, yeah. I remember on SNL, then it just started crashing. Okay, so I'm taking my phi ratio all the way from the top here, around 70 cents, to the bottom. And what you can see is, if you look at this as a 5-wave declension, wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. You can see this initial break of structure to start the sideways consolidation of the bear market, targeted wave 4 of the previous trend, as you can see right there. So you've been sideways for a few hundred days here. And right now, you've targeted the top of the channel and now come back down to retest that midline, right? The midline of the channel is so important. It has to be retested before leaving the channel. And I think that's what Dogecoin has done right here. So I think the next logical target is going to be that phi ratio up around 25 cents. Okay, so that's where I see Dogecoin going, and that's a sizable move from here. And some people think, well, low caps are going to move further and more intensively than high caps, maybe eventually. But these initial moves, don't let the market cap fool you. This Dogecoin move is a 200% move to that phi ratio. So that's a pretty nice move. But yeah, I'm seeing 25 cents as a good target. And again, that would be a nice place to come in and down from to retest the top of that bear market channel as support, right? Because you've been under this for many hundred days. So what has to happen with the high degree of probability is that once you break that channel, whatever top you hit, you come back, retest that as support before moving on. Okay, I don't even know if this is a clean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Elliott wave impulse. But all I know is that with a high degree of probability, you're at the midline, you're breaking the channel, and your next target is going to be the phi ratio or around it, maybe in the golden pocket. So between the 0.5 and the 618. So anywhere between 18 and 25 cents, I would say, is a good bet. Okay, so that's Dogecoin. Let's do a few more. Let's do, I want to say this. Ethereum is not one that I would be super, Ethereum is not one that is coming off the bottoms. Okay, Ethereum looks toppy, just like Bitcoin looks toppy, and I'm going to show you why I'm saying this. Okay, look at this chart. You went up here, 5 waves. Okay, again, Ethereum's chart looks so different than the charts we just looked at. Very different than Doge, Cartesi, all that stuff. You can see some strong upwards momentum here that already happened. Okay, on the daily time frame, you can see this. And here you see structure broken. Okay, that is very important because basically when you're breaking structure like this, that is likely an A wave targeting wave 4 of the previous trend. This is likely a B wave. What you're likely to get is a retracement. C wave. So don't be surprised if Ethereum goes up, but only so far and then comes down, right? Retracing this entire move right here. Okay, lots of people aren't reading the charts and they're assuming that every altcoin will move just because it's an altcoin. Not so. Okay, so I'm looking at around 1919, 1920 to be a good spot for Ethereum for the retracement, but obviously it can retrace even as shallow as a 0.382. Doesn't have to go all the way to the 618. And if this B wave continues to go up, according to this chart, it should go up no more than around 3,000, 3,060 thereabouts, because that's where this phi ratio is. Okay. All right. Hope this is helping. In alt season, a lot of people get attracted to crypto because things are moving. And sometimes they get lucky, they throw some in and things just move. But what you want to do is use your skills of analysis and give yourself a fighting chance of really winning. You don't have to trade on 100x leverage, but just going on the daily time frame, reading a chart, with a high degree of probability and seeing, okay, this has already run. I don't want to invest in something that's around, the top of its move and looking to retrace. I want to invest on something that is on the bottom. I've done hooks so many times. Let's do something else. Let's do one more. Let's do Litecoin. Litecoin is exciting. Okay. We're going to do two more. We're going to do Litecoin and XRP. I was thinking about you guys when I was analyzing this on my own time. These are really interesting because, so let's actually get rid of this. So Litecoin is, top project, but very few people know just how bullish it is. I mean, look at this. If you really, really look at what Litecoin has done over the years, you would be very interested in it. And I think this is a great project for people looking to invest, not necessarily looking to trade, but looking to invest in altcoin. And I use that word very carefully. Invest mean you buy, and then every time it retraces, you buy some more, and you kind of forget. You're not trading in and out. This, what do you want to invest in? You want to invest in things that are fundamentally solid, things that have been around, right? A Litecoin, a Dogecoin, especially a Litecoin, right? Been around almost as long as Bitcoin and doesn't show any signs of letting up, hasn't been hacked, doesn't have any issues fundamentally, has institutional support, right? It has basically a very known brand name. Okay, so why am I so bullish on Litecoins? Because one, it's been around. Two, what has it done? It's done nothing. It's done nothing, especially since you consider the time it's been around. It's pretty much been consolidating for its whole entire life. And actually, if you look at the chart, and I'm not going to get into the weeds of the high time frame chart right now, but Litecoin is something that essentially is due for a vertical move, where the past 10 years, it's been moving horizontally. It's been accumulating. That's all. If you understand charts and understand what this means, it's basically all the buying pressure of this asset over 10 years is going to be it's going to be expressed in a vertical fashion, i.e. in big, long green candles. Okay, so let's go on the small time frames and see how I would trade this. And actually, I am trading Litecoin. So this is what I would do. So I'm looking at this as something, first of all, on the daily, that is going to give me a maximal target in the interim of this multi-year resistance. So if I look at my weekly time frame, I see a leading diagonal. I'm not going to get into the technicalities of that. Basically a bunch of consolidation. I see this as a complex wave 4 correction, right? WXY, something like that. And I see this as a subsequent consolidation, right? So basically many years, hundreds of days of sideways consolidation. This finally breaks out. Litecoin's here for its party. The first logical resistance is going to be the top of this move, which has been resistant since 2018. So for 6 years, this is a 6-year resistance right here, this line. If I'm trading Litecoin, I'm not looking to take profit. I am looking to take profit at this line because I believe that once you hit that, then you're going to put in a retracement. Okay, so that's on the higher time frame. On the daily time frame, I think you do find a significant retracement before that even. And again, it's the same trade that I've been talking about. You basically take the bear market declension, the impulse, right, down from the bear market, and you put in your phi ratio. So you take your Fibonacci retracement tool, and you can see that the phi ratio is at around 133 on this chart. Okay, obviously you're gonna have to use whatever chart you're trading with, but that is the next logical resistance, and it's essentially the bottom of this AB pattern right here before the C wave broke down. Okay, so that is my next logical target for Litecoin. I think that's a very nice trade, very high probability trade, and it's a 90% move thereabouts from where we're at, but I think it's a really nice high probability trade. And then once you put that in, right, you go wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, you hit your head on the 6-year resistance. That's what I'm seeing for Litecoin. The symmetry works out really nicely. If you look at nature, you look at charts long enough, you can see there's a natural symmetry to good analysis. So I really like this trading plan for Litecoin. Okay, so my first target, once again, is around 134. My next target is the top of this move around $450. Okay, last but not least, let's do XRP. And I want to do XRP because it's particularly bullish and particularly interesting. Okay, so here we go. XRP is another interesting example of, say what you want about XRP. It's been around the block. It's been through a court case. It's been, dragged through the mud. And as a result, I believe what you saw in the charts for the last 7 years is a massive consolidation, right? Another massive consolidation, 7 years of consolidation, 7 years of sideways movement that is going to express itself in a violent vertical move. So here I see a WXY and a subsequent sideways up and to the right channel of consolidation, right? So basically I'm seeing that you're at the bottom of the channel. So you go up to the top of the channel. That move coincides with this 7-year resistance right here. Okay, so I think that is the next logical target for XRP. The top of this channel right here, which gives you about 136% move, around $1.22, $1.23 thereabouts on this this chart, this Bitstamp chart. Okay, and then once you hit that, it makes sense that you come back and you retest, right? Because you go all the way to the high, you retest the middle of the channel because, right, you're at the bottom right here. You go to the top, you're going to have to retest the midline of the channel before leaving it because that's how channels work. We know that, right? So that's what I'm seeing with XRP. Extremely bullish because once you leave this 6-year resistance, I mean, you're in price discovery, right? Same with Litecoin. Once you leave that $450 level, you're in price discovery. And that, I mean, just think of 7 to 10 years of built up consolidation. Your favorite altcoin doesn't have that, right? Obviously, except if your favorite altcoin's XRP and Litecoin, yeah, sure. But most altcoins don't have that kind of price history. So these two are particularly bullish because of how long they've been in the game and how long they've been consolidating. So that's what I got for you guys today. I hope this was helpful. Hope this was useful. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.